Today we are talking about mistakes because this illustration is full of them. Many artists of every level seem to be plagued by perfectionism, and for some artists, this can even cause a kind of art block where you are too afraid to even make anything for the fear of screwing up. And let me tell you, screwing up is a really good way to improve your skills. If you're looking at your art and you're noticing all kinds of mistakes you're making, congratulations, you have developed your critical eye and are ready to start improving even more. When you allow yourself a space to screw up and make those mistakes, you're also giving yourself a chance to look at that work with your critical eye and really question how you can fix these things. In the case of the illustration I'm working on now, I screwed up one of the characters' faces. And upon screwing up, I realized I hadn't been practicing my facial expressions for quite some time, and I allowed myself to wing it without properly finishing my sketch. So mistakes were made. I'm a big advocate for allowing yourself a space to screw up, as I mentioned earlier. This can be like a junk sketchbook, or if you're a digital artist, a folder where you just doodle away without any care of the world. This is important to have this place because these mistake-filled doodles, these garbage drawings, they can be seeds for new ideas that you can come back to at any time. And if you're working with digital or whatever medium, you can play with them in ways where you're not used to, and you can discover new ways to use your materials when you're giving yourself space to play, essentially, and screw up. And social media really has this tendency to perpetuate the idea that things posted are always perfect and that the people posting these things don't make mistakes. But in actuality, you're just seeing a fraction of the work that they've put in to get to the point where they're showing you this hyper-refined stuff. It doesn't mean that they don't have stacks and stacks and stacks of paper that is just garbage. Take my 2017-2018 sketchbook tour as an example. There was so much art in there and drawings that were just awful. But without those horrible drawings, I wouldn't have had a lot of the ideas I have now for this world I've been building. Okay, I got a little bit of a story. This is a specific blunder that happens to me, and I know it happens to other people too. But sometimes when you're using your tool, whether it's a paintbrush or a pencil or whatever, sometimes you go to make a little micro adjustment with your hand, and the paintbrush will literally fling itself out of your hand onto your working surface. Now, I don't know about you, but this happens to me quite often, and it is terrifying. My heart stops, and I just pray that the bristles don't just land itself awkwardly onto the paper, leaving marks everywhere. So far, I've been really lucky where the bristles haven't landed on the work surface, but I know that I would be devastated if something like that happens. And yes, it's an accident, and again, mistakes happen, but I get it. It's heartbreaking, and it can be so demotivating when something like that happens after you've worked so hard on something. And when you've noticed a big mistake has just occurred, you have a couple of options ahead of you. You can keep on going, push through, try to correct the mistakes as best you can, or you can stop. There is absolutely nothing wrong with just stopping a project and walking away from it. I'm usually an advocate for pushing through because in a lot of my illustrations, I tend to reach a point where I'm internalizing these thoughts where this is not turning out. This isn't how I envisioned it. But as soon as I keep going and push through and just add a few more layers, a few more details, I tend to really enjoy how my illustrations turn out, but it is really okay to stop if you are truly struggling. Stop, take a break, move on to a different project, or pull out a piece of paper and problem solve what is going wrong in your drawing. Because you can do that. You can stop and try somewhere else and then use that piece of paper as reference in the work that you're working on. So I mentioned how in this illustration I made a whole bunch of mistakes. So now I'm going to take a moment and show you them. So first and foremost, we have the main character. You can see I tried fixing his face using some white gel pen. That didn't turn out quite as I liked. And then I shouldn't have made these plants go out of the box, the border. I think that was a stylistic choice that I shouldn't have made. And here you can see some of my corrections I made. I didn't know what shape these were going to be until I started making it. Second page of the illustration. Now let's see. Again, I decided to put a plant outside of the border. This page I didn't do so bad on. I think this was the most well planned out page. And the final page, again, the plants outside of the border were a bad choice. This is the only one I liked out of all of them. It was the best one. It was also the last one I did. And this creature here, I did not sketch him out beforehand, and that really screwed me up. I completely redid the feet. As you can see, this one's supposed to be like pointed back originally, and I was able to make it point forward, and I screwed his face up really bad. I had to do a lot of corrections, a lot of white was used. In the end, I am super happy with how this long illustration turned out. Even though I made a lot of mistakes along the way, I'm very happy I pushed through, and I hope that my words have encouraged you, if you're feeling like you're making lots of mistakes, to just keep going and keep trying and keep learning from them. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.